Okay, how are we looking? We got sound? Yeah, we've got sound. I'm on my own and the sun is right in my fucking eyes. That's a little bit better. Only it looks kind of dark. I really need a curtain in here apparently. Or like a completely blacked out window it would seem. But anyway, it is what it is. So look, hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so this afternoon we've got a bit of a quick one, literally. Customer only paid for this one yesterday. It's a lucky young fella's birthday tomorrow, and his dad's gonna come out and pick this one up for him tomorrow, so he gets it on his birthday. So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if the kid's gonna be watching us tonight. It might be a surprise for his birthday, but he'll be able to watch this back at a later date. So we have a budget gaming PC that I say is worth owning. So if you're going to get a budget gaming PC and you're looking at something, you know, around $1,000, this is probably the best option for you right now. If you don't want to spend a bit more, you can spend a bit more and get a more powerful graphics card, but as a minimum I wouldn't go for anything less than an RX 6600 these days for gaming. It's a really good budget card. It's under 300 Aussie dollars you can pick one up for. And pretty much as far as price performance goes at that end, you can't get a better graphics card. The Intel 12400F 6-core 12-thread CPU. This is like a budget CPU now. It's pretty much as cheap as the cheapest AM4 chips that are on the market right now. Intel's doing it hard, but you know, at the end of the day, it's a win for consumers because you get a decent CPU at a good price. So without further ado, let's get stuck right into it. So we've got the i5 12400F 12-core 16-thread CPU. We have a 16GB kit of Silicon Power Zenith 3200 MHz CL16 RAM. We have the AYW B760M Wi-Fi motherboard. Good motherboard. We've used the AM5 version of this, the A620M. We got a 1TB Silicon Power NVMe SSD. We have an Asus Dual RX 6600 graphics card. We have a little thermaltake light power 500 watt power supply. It's a decent little power supply. It's got a 3-year manufacturer's warranty from Thermaltake. So if you're looking for something that's cheap, you really don't have any extra money to spend on the power supply, but you want something that's at least decent and is going to get the job done, check these ones out. Thermaltake Light Power. I'm going to do a series of videos soon about what brands are famous for in the PC world, because a lot of people, you know, jump right in there looking at parts and no one really knows what the heritage of these brands are, because it almost seems like every brand has their finger in every different pie. You know, you can get Leon Lee branded power supplies and stuff like that. You know, they're not a power supply company. You know, MSI with their coolers, they wanted to make their own coolers and they fucked up. So it makes sense to, you know, put your brand on existing products. But anyway, check this one out if you want something decent. And then we've got the Azza Noir, N-O-I-R, Noir. I'm assuming it's meant to be pronounced like the French would say. And this is a good little case, $50. It's got 2 RGB fans there. You know, can't really ask for better. It'll fit standard size graphics cards. You could put an AIO cooler in here if you really wanted to, but honestly, if you're gonna spend $50 on a case, you know, commit to where you are, and don't bother with getting another cooler. Because on CPUs that are less than about $300, the cooler that comes with them is completely fine. When you put in another cooler on top of that, it's always for aesthetics. So if you've ever seen me use a 12400F and we put an AIO on it, it's simply for the aesthetics. It's meant to look a certain way, not because it actually needs the cooler. So people, when they buy a PC, they don't necessarily give a shit about what's necessary. They just want it to look a certain way. But if you're on the cheaper end and you're worried about, is the cooler that comes with it good? Is it okay? Is it fit for purpose? Yes, it is. So let's get stuck right into it. We'll start with this motherboard. And by the way, just FYI, if you're watching along, my wife has a little part-time job, so she's actually not with me today. I think she's getting home fairly soon, but at least for now, I'll only be able to look at the comments intermittently. So let me just get the board out. And before I go any further, I will just make sure I can see the screen. No, it doesn't look like we've got any comments yet. It's a little bit of a weird time. I've probably caught a lot of our regular viewers off guard with the timing for this stream, but that's okay. So, what do we get with the AYW B760M motherboard? So we get 8 pins of CPU power. Got a nice little aluminium heatsink here on the MOSFET and VRM. Obviously our LGA 1700 socket motherboard. We got 1, 2, 3 RGB headers, two 5 volt and 1 12 volt. We have 1, 2, it's just the 2. Make sure I don't miss a sneaky one. No, just the 2 fan headers. So just be aware, if you buy this motherboard, you might need a fan controller or fan splitters to hook all your fans up. We've got dual channel memory here over 2 slots. Obviously our 24 pin ATX power there. We got USB 3 there. We got 4 SATA ports, 2 USB 2s. What do we got there? SPIDIF out if you wanted to install that. COM port if you needed it. Audio, I'll get there eventually. These little gold capacitors down there that you see, they're the audio capacitors. So they're insulated because obviously audio is an electrical signal, and it can be EM radiation, or basically just electricity. Too much electricity in one spot can sort of have an effect on those capacitors and affect the audio. That's why you always find that audio is in this little bottom corner of the motherboard there. That's not just for shits and giggles. It's designed to be down there, away from all this stuff up here that consumes a lot of power. They worked out that in general that's the best spot for it in terms of not being interfered with. So around the back here we got 6 USB ports, 4 USB 3s and 2 USB 2s. We got 2.5 gigabit LAN, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, standard audio. We've got dual M2, so we can stick 2 M2 drives in there. We've got our PCI X16 slot and 2 little X1s there at the bottom. So that's pretty decent little budget board there. So let's get stuck right into it. Let's start putting our parts in. I can normally get them off, but that was really stuck down there. So here's our 12400F LGA socket. That means there's pads on the bottom of the CPU. It's not, it doesn't have pins. The pins are in the socket. That's why there's this protector over the top. So there's a couple little notches there on the socket. You line them up with the notches on the CPU and just let it sort of drop in place. And then best practice, touch the corners just to make sure it's in line with the socket around the edges there, and you've definitely got it mounted correctly before you go and put pressure on it like this. It's much easier to check that now than put force on it and then just discover that you've broken something. Alrighty, and here's our included cooler. So they're pretty bulletproof. Got a nice bit of copper alloy there on the bottom with some pre-applied thermal compound. So pretty much, yeah, you can pretty much just put it straight on the board. You don't really need any kind of experience. Just know that with these coolers, they make a nice little high-pitched click sound. And you listen for that, and then when you hear that, you know that the cooler is installed correctly. Because you'd be surprised how many people end up coming back to me with a PC that they've built that's not working properly, and they haven't installed their Intel cooler correctly. Go. Alright, so M2, we can go ahead and put that in. Whoop, is there special M2? Oh, okay, there is. So there's no actual M2 screws. They actually give you these little plastic brackets, believe it or not. Okay. Okay. Alright, so they clip on at the bottom there. I'll install them both so there's no confusion. There we go, there's one. And there's two. Christine just got home.
Christine has a headache.
Okay. A little bit of plastic's all they need, they reckon. It's fine by me. It'll just probably confuse the hell out of people. But hey, you gotta save money somehow. Yes, babe. This is for a young kid whose birthday's tomorrow, so guys picking it up tomorrow.
Oh, well, happy birthday!
I don't think he's watching. I think it's a surprise.
Oh.
But yes, it's just a budget build, so we won't be doing it for long. Gotta love this anti-theft packaging. So you can't really go wrong when you've got 2 slots and 2 sticks of RAM. There's only one way that works. All right. So that is the board all prepped. So let's turn our attention to the case. So like I said, the Noir is a good case if you're looking for something cheap, you know, that looks like it's actually from, you know, this decade, if you know what I mean. And like, this is what a budget case looks like a economy case. You know, if you don't want the RGB and you want something that doesn't have any RGB on it, it'll, like something about this size, it'll cost you $4 less, and it will only have one fan, not two. So that's the world we live in now. This is what a budget entry-level case looks like.
I don't know if you saw this, but Scar95 wanted to know how's Fluffy now.
How's Fluffy Mao? He's doing very good. He's happy as.
He's waiting for dinner that I have to cook yet.
Oh, the chicken.
Yeah.
You got to start early tomorrow, don't you?
Don't remind me. My good boots are starting to get fucked up.
Oh. When are you getting your new ones?
Oh, I don't know. Next week, probably.
Oh. It's not long.
I hope.
Don't you have the other ones?
Yeah, but one of them's kind of fucked. Oh my gosh. It was so busy today.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Like really busy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I spent the whole day on the slicing hand.
Yep. Yeah, well, you're at $1 million store now, and they do the volume.
There's a lot of oldies.
Yep. Wednesday's old age pension day, I'm pretty sure. So they all come in, and then also a lot of people get paid on Wednesdays.
Sorting says that's where all the 700X 3Ds went behind you.
Yes,
they're
yes,
all empty.
yes. You can see that. Only I'm not hoarding any stock. I don't. All these boxes that you see behind me, these are just empty boxes. Okay. I got too much brains to fucking fuck around with holding a heap of like PC parts as stock. You know, even my friends with, you know, physical stores, they hold absolute bare minimum stock on hand just because it's such a risky business. Sorry, the keyboard wasn't sitting there correctly. Don't mind me. Okay. So they give you a little controller here for the fans. So that makes life easier. They have these all-in-one connectors here, similar to what Deep Hill uses, though I think it's slightly different. Just looks kind of similar. Standard screw configuration, so nothing else to change there. Makes our life a bit easier. Chuck in the IO shield. Every time I put in an IO shield, man, I always think of this fucking guy on Facebook Marketplace that got up me for trying to sell a secondhand PC that didn't have the rear IO shield, as if like that was, you know, protecting you.
People would get electrocuted.
Yeah, he said the rear IO shield is there for my protection and the protection of others.
It's just to fill a hole.
It's literally to fill the gap there around the rear I/O on the motherboard, all this stuff at the back. It has zero structural effect on any of this stuff here. It doesn't help hold anything in place. It doesn't prevent electric shocks. It doesn't do any of that. All it is, the reason why we do this, the engineers will just have a hole in the back of the case. The marketing and sales team goes, nah, that doesn't look right. We need to cover up that hole. And there you go, the rear I/O shield is born. So yeah, don't freak out. I mean, I would much rather sell tech that, you know, still works and is still, you know, still keeping up with modern times, rather than just chuck it away because I don't have something trivial like a rear I/O shield. And I'm sure plenty of people looking for budget used PCs also are pretty happy that people like me don't just chuck working motherboards away because there's no rear I/O shield. Like, come on, man. You know, if the rear I/O shield, like, provided some sort of structural support when you plug in your cables or something like that, you could make the case that if I don't install it, I'll damage the connectors there at the back. But it doesn't provide any structural support for them at all. So it literally does nothing except fill a hole. So plus, remember, test bench. You'll find something like this at every PC shop, okay? Guarantee that no one's really got the rear I/O shield installed. If they do, you know, I don't think they will, because the test bench is designed to be easy to swap things in and out of. Having I/O shields to change over, that's complicating things. Okay. So this is our controller. This came with our $50 case. And so we've got a addressable RGB on our fans. How cool is that? Yeah. $50 an addressable RGB, not just, you know, fixed mode RGB and stuff like some of the other cheaper cases. Alright, so 5 volts to the motherboard, SATA there, and I got a bit of sticky. You got the big sticky and the little sticky.
I missed that too. The sticky guy.
He had a little bit too much cocaine, I believe.
But he was fun.
Yeah, he was fun. I mean, I
was young at the time and I wanted one.
I'd probably, if he was shouting, I'd probably have a line.
No, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
only if it's old mate who's shouting me. I don't know if I could say no to old mate. You know, he's such a good salesman. Okay.
Oh, Fluffy now. He's started meowing. He wants his dinner. I guess I should put it in the air fryer.
Okay. So we got our controller plugged into the SATA cables there. I've just zip tied them and stuck them to the back. And we got our 24 pin for the motherboard, our graphics card power, and our motherboard power. Easy as. So now we take these cables and we plug them in to the motherboard. So let's start from the top. Alright. So that's our CPU power. That's our RGB. That's our motherboard. USB 3. We don't have any SATA devices. Alrighty, so down the bottom here, this is what some people reckon is the hardest part of building a PC. But every time I do this, I just think about how much bigger this little pin array used to be back in the day. It was much more complicated to assemble a PC 30 years ago than what it is today. And yeah, it is a lot easier these days. People don't know how good they've got it. Okay, graphics card time. All right. Before we go any further though, like, where the fuck is my screwdriver? Okay. Alright, so we got all the typical Asus sticky. I wonder how much they could save if they didn't put all this sticky over them.
He wants to know what's this build for. There's a customer has a birthday boy.
Yes, young fella.
Like
I think it's his first gaming PC or first new gaming PC. And so this is $1,000 build, just a fraction over. Step up from here is another like $150 or roughly 15%, if you know what I mean. So when you're on a budget, this might be, you know, this already might be sort of over your budget.
You leave the cat alone. Insane Insanity says, hello, first time tuning into your channel. Are you an experienced builder?
Am I experienced?
Tim's been doing this since he was like 9.
Yeah. I've been doing it a while.
Professionally for like maybe 5 years now?
Yeah, I've done it on the side my whole life. But yeah. Yes.
Shane says my old PC had that same case.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I mean it's not a bad case. Like
For a
for
start
what it is.
and if you're on a budget, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a good budget case, and it looks like it's from this decade. So you know, if you want, no one likes the look of like outdated technology, right? You know, unless you're like passionate about it or something.
Insane Insanity was so, oh cool, so what's the purpose of this video? Tutorial on how to build a budget PC for beginners?
Mate, it's just my business model.
You buy a PC
from me, and
you
I
get to see
assemble it live. I assemble them live. Same with the repairs. I'm not necessarily trying to teach anyone.
Could use it as a tutorial?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess I've probably taught thousands of people how to build their own PC, but that's not really the point of it. The point is that this industry is sort of very deceptive, if you know what I mean. So people, you know, there's not a lot of transparency. Whereas when you buy a PC from me, it's about as transparent as we can possibly make the entire process. So all my PCs are built to order. I don't have any set range of parts or anything like that. Anyone who buys a PC from Tim's PC can have whatever components they want, provided that we can get them. Okay. Had a customer just the other day want a Founders Edition 4090, and I'm like, oh, they're gone, mate. They are well and truly gone, unfortunately. But that didn't matter, you know. Once I told him that, you know, the Founders Edition is not even the best performing version of that card. Okay, she's all done. How long have we been live for? What?
Yeah.
Just over half an hour?
Tim?
Yeah.
Insane Insanity says, I know exactly what you mean. I've been building PCs since I was 10. I'm 22 now.
Yep.
I have a 3070 Ti and the 5900X.
Yep.
Way too overpriced, but I had the money, so it is what it is.
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, when you're talking about like prices and stuff like that, I've got one coming up soon, and it's about as expensive of a gaming PC that you can get realistically. Like we could have spent a bit more, but you know, it's a 4090 all white Lianli Vision case. MSI Supreme graphics card was the whitest one that we could get. Yeah, so that's coming up. I don't have a date on it, but yeah, you'll definitely hear about it.
Tim?
What's that?
Megal channel says, "Hey, I'm trying to be a YouTuber just like you. I'm from South Africa."
Ah, cool. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, I've never been to South Africa, so I don't know.
I really want to go.
I definitely
I have
want.
friends from South Africa, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Fucking, I work with someone from South Africa, and yeah, she told me some stories. I think she was from. Cape Town, or it could have been Johannesburg. I get them mixed up in my head. They're both like South African cities, and yeah, because I haven't been there, I don't have any way of differentiating them in my head. Anyway,
Tim?
yeah.
Kuro wants to know, could you rate my current PC build?
Yep.
I picked the components myself, didn't know anything about PCs.
Yeah, send it through, and I'll let you know, eh? Easiest way will probably send me a message on Facebook.
I just posted the link in the comments to Tim's
Oh.
page. So,
There's something I forgot to hook up.
what did you do?
The second fan, the fan on the front.
And Megan says, "Yeah, I'm from Cape Town."
Cape Town. Cool. Now my co-workers, like in Australia, people fucking people stop at the crosswalks for you. She's like, not in South Africa. Cars always have right of way in South Africa.
Tim,
Yeah.
it says on the topic of South Africa, I live in Eastern Europe, a country that's not a member of the EU, so I had to pay about €500 more for the imports of components when I was assembling my PC. What a scam.
Holy shit.
Bloody hell.
Jesus.
Did they want your left leg as well?
That's. I mean, what did you buy? Did you spend like thousands of euros on PC parts? And was this like a 10% like tax, or hopefully it was just something like that. Okay. Christine can get a BIOS later, that's okay. I'll put on the XMP for now. Sweet. I love it when it posts and we don't have any troubleshooting and stuff like that. That's always a good thing. What? Stupid thing. Accidentally clicked the wrong thing. Let's go back to the start. Okay. I've been meaning to buy one of these things for ages. This is a thermaltake Tough Power. No, sorry, not Tough Power. Dr. Power 3. And this is a little power supply tester. You can plug in all of the connectors, even 12+4 pin in the new model, and it will tell you whether you're getting any power from it. So you don't even have to have the power supply hooked up to a PC. You can go and test all of the cables there. 24 pin, 12+4 pin, CPU, graphics card, Molex, SATA. You can test them all.
Spent 3,500 in total.
Yeah.
With all the stuff.
It's a pretty. That is a pretty steep tax.
And a microphone as well.
Yeah. But what did you say? You're taxed like 500 euros for that? Yeah, that's pretty steep.
Taxman likes his money.
Yeah.
He always wants a little more.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say that there's benefits of joining the EU, and I guess this is one of them, right? I don't know. I'm not really from Europe. Like, Australia's been granted like a position in the Eurovision competition, but I feel like that's sort of just what's the word for it?
Pleasantry.
Yeah, pleasantry. They're just kind of like, it's like a participation award. It's like, okay, you guys are like white with European descendants. Yeah, I guess you can be part of Eurovision. You can be part of Eurovision, but you know, secretly we know that you're not part of Eurovision. Christine didn't even know what Eurovision was until the other day.
The other year.
Yeah, that's what other day. Australian slang. Other day could be, you know.
Could be yesterday. Could be 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Kuro, he sent you a list of his stuff.
Yep.
That he's got. Getting.
Yep.
Ryzen 5 5500, SFX RX 6600, Tough B450 plus 2 motherboard, 550 watt Seasonic power supply, terabyte NVMe, and 2x8 Kingston Fury 32 megahertz RAM.
Yep. What was the graphics card?
RX 6600.
Yeah. It's basically what we've got here with a slightly cheaper CPU. That's basically it. So the sort of performance that you will see here with this PC will be pretty much comparable to a 5500 running with this. So yeah, like I said, 5500 is a slightly slower CPU than this, but at the end of the day, it's not going to make a great deal of difference. So if you're happy with what you got, yeah, don't fall for the, you know, grass is always greener crap. In terms of gaming performance, 5500 is going to be fine, especially just paired with a 6600. That's the key point, because when it comes to CPU and CPU power, if you don't have a really strong graphics card, you probably don't need a really strong CPU, because beyond a certain point, the CPU won't help you get any extra performance out of your graphics card. Typically in a gaming PC, usually it's the graphics card is the fundamental bottleneck in the system. Every system has a bottleneck, don't get me wrong. People throw that word around without actually understanding what it means. But in a gaming PC, you want your bottleneck to be the graphics card, because then you're getting full performance out of the graphics card. Nothing else is holding it back. Right? Yeah.
So I just ordered a RX 7600 Kingston NV2 M2 SSD. After I ordered that, I checked reviews of that SSD and it's not looking good.
What SSD was it?
Kingston NV2 M2.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, dude. Don't worry about the people online, the SSD enthusiasts and stuff like that. It's great to have a nice fast SSD, you know, boot into Windows fast and stuff like that. But it doesn't get you more gaming performance. It just means that when the loading screen comes up for your game, the one on the faster SSD, that loading screen will be less. But once it's loaded, what do you think loaded means? Loaded means it's going from loaded means it's going from the internet, a hard drive or SSD, and it's being loaded into. Can anyone guess what I'm about to say? The RAM, the memory. So once it's in the memory, that's when your game's loaded. Now you can go around and play, and it's nice and responsive and stuff, because the RAM is super high speed storage, temporary high speed storage that your CPU can access pretty much instantly, much faster than any SSD that's on the market even today, even with a Crucial T705. But yeah, NV2, Kingston NV2. That is a sort of entry level PCIe Gen 3 NVMe SSD. It has a 3-year warranty from Kingston. Yeah, you're fine, mate. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. We've used multiple of them. I've probably used 30 or so in the last 4 years. And yeah, no issues. I think maybe one. I don't even think one has come back. Having said that, I've only sold about 30 or so of them, mainly when they're on special, basically.
I even did a ride the dairy. I got a full covered water block for my 3070 Ti. Bad investment for that card compared to the value of the card, but I wanted to water cool it.
I mean, it's a. I mean, if you enjoy tinkering with things, sure, absolutely, go and chuck a water block on your graphics card. Hell yeah. But yeah, as you said, not really a good investment, because with a graphics card, as soon as you go and do all that, the new model's right around the corner, and you could have probably spent most of what you spend on a water block and everything else just buying that new model graphics card. Like if you went and got a 4080 Super instead, oh, that's going to get you more performance than, 3 radiators on your graphics card, if you know what I mean. Okay. No. i7-7700. Oh no. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the chip. It's still fine for a budget used PC. The problem is it's 7 years old. And once you start getting, PCs that are 7 years old, yeah, you're going to find it really hard to find new parts. I mean, you could probably find it on eBay and stuff like that, but then you've got to sort of take the chance with, potentially buying something and then it not working and all that. Because yeah, you're pretty much going to be screwed if you've bought it from overseas, especially somewhere in Asia, and you get it and it doesn't work. Have fun trying to get a refund on that, pretty much.
Kuro says I'm going to upgrade to the RX 7900 XTX.
Yep.
1757 100X 3D and changed the case to a high Y40.
Oh,
red
yep.
with
Yep.
Linux.
Yep.
P120 red fans.
Yep.
Esport Duo red CPU cooler.
Oh, yep.
Another NVMe. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, the X3D CPU is pretty much the best upgrade. If you've got an AM4 platform going with one of those, like a 5700 X3D or 5800 X3D, it's the best upgrade from your platform that you can get without buying a whole new motherboard and RAM and CPU for AM5. Alright. So I just pre-install a bit of basic software for people. It's usually, this is just stuff that people typically use or is handy to have on the PC. Yeah, nothing that I install takes up like shitloads of space or anything like that. But it's handy to have. Okay. No.
So there's a price increase on the 7800 X3D last year is pretty bad. It went up about €80.
Yep. Yeah, it's the same over here. Although I don't think it's gone up €80.
So that puts the plan to get a new PC with 7800 X3D in the fridge. Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's an excellent CPU for gaming. Pretty much it's the go-to recommendation right now for pretty much any high-end gaming PC. Pretty much anything from approx $3,000 spend and up.
So it's the price for a motherboard plus RAM plus the 7800 X3D combo went from 620 to 710 euro.
Damn. Yeah, 7800 X3D in September over here saw what would it have been about a 10% increase in price. So $58 or something like that.
That's how
Or
it is
so.
in the Netherlands. I want to go there.
Yes.
So so
The Netherlands. You guys are experts at like reclaiming land and like increasing the amount of square kilometers of your country. You do it better than Dubai. Oh man, I wanna see your river bridges. That's what I want to see. The river bridges and the
mountains.
they're not very mountainous though.
No, I guess.
They're like fairly low lying in the Netherlands. Switzerland, mountains. Now that we're talking about Europe, I'll talk about it even though I've never been there. But anyway, at least I know about it.
You know it's there.
I know it exists. I've seen things and stuff. Okay. Alrighty. So we are over here in UTC plus 10 land. Okay, well, it's all coming along pretty well. We're pretty much all done with software at this point. Good old Epic Games. Doesn't like installing. It has big cries. Alright, we'll set up MSI Afterburner in our on-screen display so we can run our gaming benchmarks.
Yes, we have some hills, no mountains, no.
Yeah, yes. I'm a little bit of a geography nerd. So I know a bit about everywhere in the world basically. Even though I've only been to a tiny fraction of those countries.
I got my first payment from work. A whole $170. Well, that was for only like one day's work anyway, so. Oh no, there was like some stupid online shit I had to do. Kira says I'll use all of my old components and build my dad a new PC.
Yep.
Still using Windows 7 on a 10-plus-year-old PC.
Yep. I do the same thing for my parents. I keep them.
Just did that the other day, actually.
Yeah. He bought me his Blu-ray player that wasn't working. The door wasn't opening and other things weren't working properly on it. I had a look at it and I'm just like, yeah, nah, we're not going to fix that. So I got him a lounge room PC. Every lounge room needs a PC. It's 2024, you know. Okay. Sweet. Yep, that's everything we need from in there. I don't think the AMD drivers are gonna work properly until I restart, because once again, just like Epic Games, this installer has all kinds of, you know, it's very temperamental, basically. That's saying, that's keeping it like, you know, it's keeping it civilized. Oh man. Because I mean, if some of this software annoys me, it's got to really piss off other people. Do you get a blouse?
No clue says I'm getting 7950 X3D with a 4080 Super tomorrow.
Yeah, nice. Very nice. Are you going to use the 7950? Like other than gaming, are you doing anything with the 7950, like the 16 cores and 32 threads? Because yeah, I mean, you've got, if you get yourself a PC like that, you just using it for gaming, it does a lot more than gaming, basically. How are we looking? Everything's installed to some degree. Okay. We'll do a restart now, and then we should be able to finish up, run our gaming benchmarks, and that'll be it. Alright. Well, I better put the budget Asus Wi-Fi thing.
Okay. Most says I like to multitask while I game. Discord alone is a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell. SLD says my water temperature is 18 Celsius at the moment. Bloody hell.
That's pretty chilly.
The cooling is done outside in a small shed that was already built against the kitchen here. I made a closet on the other side where the PC sits. Reservoir.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell. And do you have a location? Can you tell everyone whereabouts you're at?
Netherlands.
Netherlands. This is a guy from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, they have like a they have a similar climate to Melbourne, Tasmania, that kind of region. To give you a bit of an idea, if you're from Australia and you're watching me, you're like, where the What if I told you about where's the city where you can go and, like, even back in the 90s you could go and smoke weed? Amsterdam. That is the Netherlands. So if you don't know the country, I guarantee you know the city. I mean, probably this is the sad thing. Probably most people who have been to the Netherlands from like further abroad than like other neighboring European countries probably only saw Amsterdam. And when they were there, I think they were probably pretty happy. So they might not even remember very much. But yeah, no, fuck that. I don't need to see anything in Amsterdam. I just want to see your river bridges. I love cool civil engineering stuff, and I always found that fascinating. We're in a dry country here.
SLG says live in Amsterdam.
Ah, cool. Yep. Yeah, I guarantee people definitely know what Amsterdam is. They just don't know where Amsterdam is.
Everyone failed geography.
Yeah, man. Oh.
But if you went to my school, only the really smart kids were allowed to do geology in high
Geography,
school.
yeah, I know. Okay, before I do that, I'm gonna let all that stuff install in the background because right now I want to run the gaming benchmarks.
Found out why we've been having crappy internet last few days. They're doing work up there.
Oh, are they? I was gonna say because we've got multiple internet connections here, and I looked at the other router before, and the DSL light was off.
Yeah, they're doing work.
Okay, it's not my
No,
account's not
crazy.
fucked.
No, everybody's in the pocket and having cried out.
Okay. Yeah, they can cry. All those peasants with just one internet connection. I'm kidding.
What?
I just called everyone in the pocket peasants with their one internet connection. No one just has one internet connection. You've got it on your phone, you just have to set it up. Okay, so here it is, the i5 12400F and RX 6600 here at running heaven. So up the top here we've got GPU there in green, our temperature, usage, clock speed, wattage, mem there in green, that's our VRAM usage and clock speed. CPU there in blue, that's obviously our CPU, temperature, usage, clock speed and wattage. And we've got our RAM usage there. And this number here below RAM, that is the magic number. That is how many frames per second it's currently running at. So as you can see here, Heaven 1080p, high settings, no dramas. Eats it for breakfast. And this is the kind of thing that you'd want to be using this for, you know, 1080p gaming. Not, you don't want to run 4K or something like that off this. It's just not made for that. Plus, why would you sacrifice performance and quality just for a bigger pixel dimension of the screen? It doesn't make sense.
Oh. The copyright protection.
Oh, you know how to change that?
Yeah. Hang on a sec.
Sorry about that. Radeon cards have a bit of a conflict with our streaming software, and it will come up with the HDCP screen, so I've got to turn HDCP off manually each time at the capture card. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass there. So sorry if that was a bit of an interruption. If you didn't catch it on the screen here, up the top, GPU in green, we've got our graphics card, temperature, usage, clock speed, wattage. Mem in green, that's our VRAM usage and clock speed. CPU, temperature, usage, clock speed and wattage. RAM, usage, and the number there below RAM is how many frames per second it's currently running at. Yeah.
Darren was like, "Do you use VPN?" Not for this.
Not on customers' PCs. On our other PCs, yeah, definitely. Well, yes, you're not going to get too much. You're not going to get too much fun stuff if you try and hack a customer's PC here. It's a new build. There's nothing of value there. Next minute, someone targets all my customers and puts like fucking malware and spyware on their computer. Bro, if you do that, you've got a lot of fucking spare time on your hands, put it that way. Oh, man. Okay, so that was Heaven there on high with no anti-aliasing. Now we'll run Valley, which is more demanding, and we'll run it on higher settings. So this would be more like, you know, running a more demanding game. Still 1080p. Valley's more demanding even if we ran it on the same settings, just for reference.
My auntie Cheryl couldn't get a hold of her husband all day.
Mm.
While he was out, he had somebody literally run over his foot in their car, and he had to be taken to the PA hospital. His foot's crushed.
Oh, fuck.
Now he has to wear a moon boot.
Oh, how old is he?
Oh, I think they're like in their 60s.
Oh, fuck. That's not good. Get your foot run over in your 60s, your foot's never going to be right
He
again.
went down to the shops to like buy some food. And
Yeah.
just never came home, and Auntie Cheryl was like, "What the fuck?
That
What's
would be
happened?" She
that would be
finally got a
freaking.
hold of him.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so all he wants to do is XMP on it.
Yes. $3200 megahertz CL16 is in here for reference. So I mean, so far, just looking at the numbers that's on the screen, it seems to be running great. Sorry, don't mind me as I just sort of touch the case there. Yeah, it's about right. Those fans are pushing a decent amount of air through. Happy as.
Did you just break me with your dog?
What are you ha-haring at?
Oh, there's a page that I'm in called SQ Tattoo and Piercing page, and businesses and people post stuff. Anyway, somebody wants this done. He puts the lotion.
I was like, is that the fucking bad guy from Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Ugh. Alrighty, so that was Valley there. And then the final one we run is Superposition. We do this one at 4K. This is purely for reference against other systems because we run the same 3 benchmarks on all of them just so you can get a rough comparison. I wouldn't recommend running 4K on this system. It's just not what it's designed for. But if we want to put a bit of stress on the not the CPU, on the graphics card, the CPU will be having a bit of a holiday running 4K.
It doesn't even want to do it.
Benchmark crashed. Interesting.
It got up to like 5 frames a second during this, and then it just went.
There it goes.
Working this time.
It just had a little spack. Okay. And so yeah, if you've got a good eye, you'll notice here at 4K, you'll notice that CPU usage is right down compared to the other 2 benchmarks. And that's not just coincidence, that's because there's less frames per second and the CPU doesn't have to work as hard. And that's what I was saying at the start about, you know, with a cheaper graphics card, you don't need to spend more on the CPU, and it'll get to a point where the graphics card will be the thing that holds you back. Doesn't matter if you spend $8,000 on a CPU. If you've got an RX 6600, it's still going to be an RX 6600. Even if you get an X3D chip on here, the X3D will give you like a percentage better performance. So the lower spec graphics card you put with your X3D chip, the less frames per second net performance benefit you get from that. X3D chips, once you get up to like a mid-range gaming PC, like something with a 4070 Super or something like that, that's when it starts making sense to put in more powerful CPUs. Up to that, you should just get the best graphics card you can, and like if you have to just run a 12400F with it, happy days. Because I mean, I'd rather have a 12400F and a 4060 Ti than a Ryzen 7600 and a 4060. Just for comparison there. Just how like it's the same money. It's just what you'd spend the money on. And there's no reality where the Ryzen 7600 being a stronger CPU than a 12400F, there's no reality where that makes up for the difference between a 4060 and a 4060 Ti. So, just to give you a bit of an idea on how you might want to look at things if you're on a budget. The only time you might decide not to do that is if you got yourself, you know, everything else is good, just I've got a cheaper graphics card for now and I plan to upgrade it. Then, in that case, chuck a bigger power supply in, get an X3D CPU, chuck a good cooler on there, you know, do what you can, and maybe just run a 6600 for a while until you can afford to drop some more money and put in, you know, something better. Okay. So we'll get all of that stuff installing there. That should be pretty much done. Yep. Sweet as. Alright, so this is how we do our stress test. So we use two apps to stress the CPU and the graphics card at the same time. It's designed to make the system get really hot. We make sure that nothing's overheating, even in the most extreme situations. And hopefully, if there's some sort of problem with anything, it'll die while we're doing this test, because it's easy for me to fix it on my end. It's more of a pain in the ass if it goes out to the customer and then a problem happens and we've got to work on a solution. Okay, so there's Furmark there. That'll give the CPU a good the graphics card a good workout. Yep. Okay, so now that we've got them both working together, we've got our graphics card here, so it can go up to get up to 80 degrees there on the hot. Sorry, no. What am I saying? GPU can get up to 83 degrees. Hotspot, memory, they can get up to like 90 plus degrees. So you don't have to worry about them. Just make sure your GPU isn't getting, you know, up towards 80. Because if that's getting up towards 80, all these other ones are going to be super high as well. So Hardware monitor's good because if something's overheating, it will come up as a red value there, so you can quickly see what the deal is. Over here, it's our CPU. As you can see, we're burning her up, 86 degrees. Not really a big deal. Intel CPUs are designed to go up to 100C. So if it's sitting there in the 80s, that's actually quite cool and calm under load, because Cinebench is extreme load for the CPU. Some people refer to what I'm doing here as a burn-in test. So
That's a new one for me.
what, burn-in test? Haven't you heard that one before? I don't use
Well,
it.
maybe I have heard it, but I'm just like, what the hell is that?
I try not to use too much freaking lingo because it just confuses people.
It certainly confuses me.
Yeah. Like, fundamentally, you know, if you know how to build PCs, you don't need me telling you anything about building PCs. So people who do listen to my channel and want to learn stuff about PCs from me, yeah, they will definitely enjoy, you know, me not using a lot of freaking technical language and stuff like that. You know, that's part of what makes it hard for a lot of people to get into the PC world, is just all of the techno babble. You know, these are sort of things, these are terms that, you know, really should just be, you know, spoken about, you know, amongst professionals. So when I have a chat to another person, you know, another PC business owner, we can go and talk and we speak the same language and we use all these terms and acronyms and stuff and we know what we're talking about. That's fine. But as for being a communicator, I guess this is kind of like a science communication type situation. I've got to try to make the language relatable and understandable to the person who's watching. So that can make it a little bit hard, but something that I learnt from a friend when I was younger who was more experienced doing PCs than me, and what he said was the worst thing that people can do is when amateurs come to you with their faulty computer and they start trying to use all these technical terms, and the problem is the customer doesn't understand what these technical terms are. They'll start to assume that they understand what things are based on the words that are being used and all that. And unfortunately, that leads to a lot of confusion, because as soon as customers say to me, oh, my GPU is failing, it's like, okay, is it your GPU that's failing or is it your graphics card that's failing? Because the GPU is the graphics processing unit, the chip on your graphics card. The graphics card's got a motherboard, just like the motherboard. It's got RAM on there and everything. We call it VRAM. But the point is, your graphics card is a whole heap of different systems together. The GPU is specifically the central processing unit of the graphics card. That is a specific thing. People throw around GPU to mean graphics card all the time, but technically that is not what a GPU is. A graphics card is a component that includes a GPU, but it is not limited to the GPU. Hopefully that kind of makes sense to people, because when amateurs like start trying to use the language, they just end up confusing themselves, and then they end up confusing me or any other PC business they bring their PC to. So I always ask people to forget telling me anything technical about your PC problem. Tell me what it does and tell me what it doesn't do. You don't need to try and impress me with with technical terms or anything. I just want you to tell me really, really simply what it's doing slash not doing in really simple terms. I turn it on, the fans come on, the lights come on, but nothing else happens. You know, I turn it on, the light on my mouse comes on, and all the lights and fans are spinning, but my monitor's not working. Like, if you just explain things like that, it makes it really easy for me to start my diagnosis, because once you tell me really simply what it's doing or not doing, I pretty much know what the problem's going to be 99% of the time. Oh, sorry about that. That was... Oh, Thermark has crashed. We'll get that started again. That was the screen timeout from Windows, because I was crapping on for too long, apparently.
Oh, bloody hell, that's awesome. Our friend in Netherlands says my CPU's 23C, by the way. It's the most insane cooling room for a 5600X.
That is pretty good. I mean, where I am in Australia, our temperature range here is about -6 or so at the absolute coldest possible temperature that we'd record here, and then the max is like in the 40s. So I mean, it gets cold in winter. It gets cold. We got wood fire here and all that for winter time. But yeah, in summer it gets really hot. I mean, it's only September. We've just come out of winter, and we're already getting days in the mid-30s, to give you an idea. But I'm a bit west from the coast, so the humidity is lower, which makes it more comfortable, because when the temperature starts getting, you know, over about 25-ish degrees Celsius, then if the humidity is really high, you end up becoming really sort of uncomfortable, because you start to sweat at that point. But then because the humidity is really high, your sweat doesn't do a very good job at cooling you down, unless you're like directly under a fan or something like that. Whereas if you're in a drier climate, if the temperature starts getting hotter, the humidity stays down, your sweat does an excellent job at keeping you cool, especially if you're not in direct sunlight. So, fun fact, Tim. All right. Well, look, that's where we'll probably leave it for tonight. If anyone's got any other final questions for me before I sign off, now is your chance to speak. Oh, just public service announcement. I'm not a Muslim. Okay? Muslims shave their moustache and around their mouth and have the fucking beard like that. No. I just got to put it out there, because someone the other day thought I was a Muslim, and I'm like, I don't know about that, Chief. Like, I don't know. I'm not religious at all. I'm not religious at all, and but I mean, like I'm not from the Middle East. I don't have any genetic or cultural background to Islam or Judaism or anything. I'm white in Australia, so my family and religious background is Christianity. But I'm not a Christian. I do know all about the Bible. I've read the Bible several times.
Anyway.
But yeah. Anyway, I am not a Muslim. Public service announcement. Yeah.
He's got a beard.
I've got a beard, so I must be a Muslim. Hopefully it was just some kid who didn't fully understand. Hopefully it's not actually an adult that thought that the the Australian dude with the beard was a Muslim. Like,
Yeah, there
I-
are
I-
Australian Muslims.
I-
Tim's not one.
yeah, there's plenty of Muslims in Australia, and that's fine. I have no problems. I don't have any problem with any religious person. I'm just not
Well,
one. I'm just
yeah.
not one. And yeah, to say that I'm one that isn't even my background, I was just like, what the fuck? So yeah, I am not a Muslim. Alrighty. Okay, look. Thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.